TRW here. I am looking at the Victis magazine war game from issue 126 on the Battle of Hastenbeck, 1757. Something about Cumberland. Oh, something about D'Estrées and Cumberland. Okay. So Hastenbeck, 1757. Okay, so I wasn't planning on doing any background on camera. Not really that interested in that type of stuff. But I do my own background. There are certain things I do like to look at, which I'll explain in a minute. What I have to say I'm not that interested in, because I'm really not generally interested in the really big strategic picture or even operational picture. So I knew nothing about the Battle of Hastenbeck before now. Yeah, I guess I should put, so by Victis magazine, this is the battle historical article. So I knew nothing about Hastenbeck. I don't speak French. Well, I certainly don't speak French well enough to read any of this, although I do get some ideas, which allows me to go to other sources and check up on things. So, okay, back to how I generally like to prep myself. I don't like to actually, I guess despite many videos I've published on YouTube, I don't actually like to be completely in the dark about what I'm playing if it's historical. But generally not that interested in the really big picture, like what war this is part of in the campaign and what's going on in Paris and what's going on in Berlin and all that stuff. More the inverse of that. If anything, I'm more interested in maybe the overall commanders, so D'Estrées here with the army of the French army, sorry. It's Cumberland is the army of observation. So D'Estrées, French army, Cumberland, right? I put Cumberland here and I put D'Estrées here. You can put the army commanders with any unit in their army. So this is the army of observation. Okay. And what I'm more interested in is seeing how the designer translates the forces, the historical forces, into the game units and the historical terrain and battlefield into the game map version. So, I started with the historical article here. So first of all, to orient myself, okay, this is central Germany. Here's the Battle of Hastenbeck. Okay, so Hanover, Saxe, Brandenburg, okay, Rossbach, Hanover, Hesse, Kassel, possessions, Hanover, Hesse, Kassel, Brunswick. Okay, so, it is central, north central, I guess, north central Germany. Okay, then I did happy to see a map like this. So this is how the designer interprets things here. So here's a small historical map here, period map, Battle of Hastenbeck. North is the top of the map here, and north is the top of the map there. Here's the compass rose right there. Okay, so north. Generally, of course, the map shows woods over here and this kind of marsh looking terrain over here. And sure enough, this Marais Oh, I was going to see, how might that be translated? How is that? Marsh. Okay, marsh. That's what I thought it looked like, marsh. Okay, so this looks like marsh. That's marsh there. This bluish tint here. It does actually have a little marsh type pattern in it. So that corresponds. Then we have the Weser River here on the map, and that is the Weser River labeled correctly there. Then we have Hastenbeck village here. There's Hastenbeck right there. It's a crossroads. It has a road going out all 6 hex sides. So there's Hastenbeck. What else from here? What did I find interesting? Obviously all right, now here's kind of the orientation of the, actually they show Obensburg right here. And that's funny, they have Obensburg down here because they have the village of Dietersen here, but Dietersen is here, so they kind of show Dietersen on line with Obensburg, but here Obensburg is south of Dietersen. But anyways, it's there, different presentation, I guess. This on the map is probably that on the game map, not named here, but named here. But I can't really read it, too small. Okay, but obviously just as interesting is the orientation of the armies. So on the map you have your French army like this, and then you have this one coming on like that, and sure enough you got main army there. I don't know, main army. Oh yeah, main army with main army here, and with these forces coming this way. And then again you have this odd configuration of the army of observation oriented kind of off in this direction. They're not really, the armies are definitely not straight onto each other. Of note, you have little artillery symbols here, which correspond pretty well to the artillery here and here. Let's see. Also, you can make out here, Palatine infantry here, and sure enough you have Palatinate infantry counters here. That corresponds. You have infantry, French infantry in the front, so that's all these guys, and that corresponds. So I would say that's about it to get out of that map. Now, this is not really a lot of detail, but it is just the first thing I was wondering, and the first reason why I even went to the map is that when I was done setting it up, I thought it was such an odd setup that I did kind of want to see what was going on with that. Now off screen, I have on a computer screen, I pulled up a more detailed battlefield map. This one goes down much more detail. This actually goes down to the level of the units in the game and even lower. So whatever's lower. I don't actually know for sure. What do they label the force unit as, a combat point, 400 men, 300 for cavalry, 6 to 12 cannons. That's per combat point, 1 hour turns, 400 meter hexes. So that's definitely what I consider a higher battlefield scope and view and scale. Okay. The map, which I'm not going to go through the trouble of trying to get the map on the screen. It is a very nice very nice detailed map. But what's interesting is I'm just going to be looking for one-to-one correlation because I do actually find this interesting. So online, right? So online on the map we have this Volkerhausen village right here, and sure enough, on the map I'm looking, so I'm going back and forth between the map on the screen and the map here. Volkerhausen, yes, online about with Tunden village here, right there. Online, that's right. I never see any. So I have the game setting up this this light artillery. Bad die cutting. I'll say that up front. Bad die cutting. I'm fairly disappointed with Victis. This is the worst die cutting I've ever seen from Victis. Great looking counters though. So we have this light infantry hussars unit set up in Tunden, which is really odd, and no map shows that. So I'm not sure where that comes from, frankly. But maybe I even read the setup wrong. Well, real quickly, hussars French is supposed to be set up in 1418 Tunden. Yep, 1418 Tunden. That's weird. But anyways, that aside. Okay, so I'm going back and forth. So on the map, on the historical map, I see the overall formation of Broglie is supposed to be here. And sure enough, we've got the formation of Broglie. That's what they look like, by the way. I'll get to the game stuff later, obviously, but there's Broglie. And so I have him set up here. You can set up your formation command with any unit in their formation. They're not given a particular spot, but for some reason I chose him back there. Can't remember why. Okay, so Broglie's, this is right. And then in more detail, let's see what I can read. Actually, at the lowest level, I can't actually read, unfortunately. And again, whatever the scale is, this goes way down. So what do I mean by that? I mean, let me see what corresponds. Yep, Cravata, right there. That's great. I love this. That Cravata right there, that unit is represented by yeah, that's represented by 3 individual cavalry units. So whatever's lower than this unit. Squadrons, I'm actually not sure. The unit next to it, Mester de something, Comp, also on the historical map represented by 3 cavalry units. So that's what I mean by this. The map I'm looking at is clearly down 1 level, deeper than this. Royal Swiss, or not Swiss, I'm sorry, not Swiss, Royal Suédois, Suédois. This unit right here is represented by 2 infantry units on the historical map. Oh, it actually shows the artillery in a no, it's not a redoubt. Actually, that kind of does look like a redoubt. Isn't that interesting? So I'm going to check myself. Is this artillery unit supposed to be in a redoubt? 13, 14. No, that's definitely shown as just field artillery. But there's Poitou on the historical map, and there's Poitou right there. Or I'm sorry, keep getting Poitou. All right, awesome. That all corresponds. So then we have what is that? What is that? Orleans. See, they have Orleans. Orleans behind Contade is here. They do have an Orleans, unless Orleans is actually, who is Orleans? So there's definitely a whole nother command on the map I'm looking at that's Orleans back here. That is definitely not, no. So I don't know if the designer skipped that level. Maybe that commander, maybe it was administrative, I'm not sure. But interesting though, that Orleans should be back here. Contade should be up here, but Contade still is commanding these guys up here. So it's generally right. It's just, so the game has this Contade right here, whereas the map I'm looking at, really Contade is in the front and Orleans is in the back. Let's see what else I can make out. So back here we have Colonel General, wait, Company General, Colonel General. That's, yeah, that corresponds. There is a Colonel General. There is a Colonel General, which is that unit right there. And then there's a Company General or something like that. But again, on the map, these two cavalry units, are broken up into a bunch of subordinate cavalry units. It's almost my point that I think I'm going to enjoy this game, but it's almost like the historical map I'm looking at makes me think of a La Bataille type game. So if this battle was done on, probably 2 full-size map sheets, and all these units were broken down into, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subordinate units, that would be really cool. But that would be great. But it's okay. Don't have that now. They have, and that's interesting, they show artillery back here, but there's no artillery in the game back here. Obviously in the game you got the artillery in the front there, and that definitely shows. Yeah, that shows. Okay. So Forenberg, the village right there, Forenberg, is exactly right in place from the map I'm looking at. And on the west of it, we've got some troops in column. Champagne is actually leading, and Reading is following, which is right there. That is this is Champagne and Reading, just exactly on line. Except, of course, on the map, it looks like they're in column, but in game terms, they're not in column. To the east of Forenberg, we've got Armentières, which is this guy right here. This whole formation right here is Armentières right here, which is just right, and leading, you've got, Balzunce right there. That's right. Oh, on the other side is, okay, so the gold are, the map I'm looking at, the gold looks like they are Austrian maybe. And here we have Autriche, which I think is Austrian. Yeah, that is Austrian. Oh, and here's another Austrian unit here. I'm talking about the picture only, right? So let me show you what I'm looking at. So, and I gotta remember, I think he was there. So this is what I'm talking about, what I'm looking at. Autriche, I think, is Austrian. And they have the white uniforms. Then I looked over here because the historical map says there should be an Austrian unit over by where this unit is, Duroy. Duroy. All right, there are different names on the map, but the unit looks like it's Austrian, which corresponds. So assuming that the uniform pictures are correct and the white uniforms are Austrian, all of that corresponds. Behind them, we've got, La Couronne right there. So what this is, so again, like this La Couronne unit here, on the map, around it is 4 units. And it's like, I don't know if the designer is amalgamating or if the designer actually determined that La Couronne is the correct name for that larger organization. One or the other. I'm not saying, I really don't care too much about that. Ooh, Kutzburg is supposed to be right there, and there it is. It is right on, again, right in place. All of this is very, very close, and fun to track. Now let me see if there's anything unusual, which is, yeah, this unit way up here seems out of place. As a matter of fact, the first time when I was setting up, I was thinking maybe, you know, I actually checked for errata. I was like, why is this unit way back here on the baseline here? Breidenbach. And there it is, sure enough, on the, and again, this one game unit set up here is on the historical map. This is 3 infantry units and a cavalry unit. So again, this is down, and that's, oh, this is why this stuff is so interesting, because in game terms, I was thinking, this is an independent unit. And I was thinking, well, maybe I want to march with him around this way just to harass the French army on their flank here. And then I thought, well, maybe in game terms, that's, maybe in terms of the rules, that's not a good idea. Maybe in rules terms, I should have him come up and join the rest of the army here. But actually now I'm looking at the historical map shows him by these movement arrows, actually shows him coming to here, and he attacks by, what is that? Oh yeah, so this shows Obensburg down here. So it's this map in the magazine. This historical map is probably off, showing Obensburg up here, which would be up here in game terms, but it's down here. And it being down here is almost exactly on track of the other historical map I'm looking at. Actually, I'm saying historical map. I shouldn't say that. It's not a historical map. It's a modern map done in period style. Okay, so sure enough, historically, I guess this unit did come around here. It would have come right around here and followed this road. Yep, right into the flank here. That is what I find fascinating. All right, so just to finish off the British, Imhof should be right here, and there he is. That's Imhof right there, with his formation. Sure enough, Imhof in his formation. Basically the Army of Observation left there. They show Abati here in game terms. That's Abati. Let's see if the map has that. Yeah, I don't really see that. All right, who's supposed to be next to him? Next to him should be, Oberg, or some name that starts with a K. Oh, in game terms, this is all Imhof here. And then we pick up with, Wutgenau. Wutgenau, there he is. Yeah, okay, so Wutgenau, in game terms, this is Wutgenau here. Map I'm looking at doesn't really show Wutgenau as really being, again, necessarily an overall command. So again, maybe this is an amalgamation of multiple formations. What we do have is Zastro, and there he is, exactly where he's supposed to be. So Army of Observation far right. We have the commander there, Zastro, and sure enough, that's where he is. And I can't remember where I picked him up from. He can be wherever I want him to be with his formation here. All right, but sure enough, Zastro's in place, and I think that does round out the Army of Observation there. These units, oops, I'm pointing to the screen. These units way up here, oh, whoops, they're off the screen. All right. Do they correspond though? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Amalgamation, yep. So on the screen, oh yeah, no, that's right. right. That really corresponds enough. It's funny with all of the stuff corresponding. I'm going to show this actually. This is off screen. In game terms, you have a Ledibor, right? You have a Ledibor infantry, or Ledibor 1 infantry, and you have a Ledibor 2 cavalry. That's normal infantry, that's normal cavalry. And on the screen, I'm looking at the infantry unit is actually made up of 2 infantry units, one labeled Lebedor, and then the cavalry is also 2 cavalry units. So, again, interesting how, well, it's not an amalgamation, it's showing the subordinate units. But right on, right where they're supposed to be. So this unit way out here is actually accounted for. So the only one that isn't accounted for is, I don't know why this Hussar unit is way over here and in a village. That still makes no sense. You know, I'm going to hunt down and see if I can find this light Hussar unit. But that is my own mental, how I mentally approach a game like this often. And what I like to do, I like to find and just review for myself the correlation, especially forces to terrain. Sometimes troop movements, sometimes major fighting. Yeah. So again, the game is Hastenbeck, 1757 Victis magazine game. This is part of a series. I do not actually know what the official name of the series is, but it is the series. I've played the Victories of Marshal de Saxe, and that is part of the series, maybe the name of the series. Again, not sure about that.